Hi, welcome back to the second installment of my Past AWANA Grand Prix Cars video series. I'm not exactly what you'd call a Corvette enthusiast, but I've always been an admirer of their early body designs. When I was a kid, my favorite Corvette body style was the 1968 to 1982 C3 series. I thought they were very sleek and aerodynamic looking. As I got older, the C2 series body styles started to grow on me. Their unique curves with the cool-looking side pipes just made them look fast, and the 1967 model, the last of the C2s, had that special hood with the cutaway bubble, not to mention the 427 turbo V8s. I chose this particular model as my next Grand Prix build. This Corvette was the first car I drew a pattern for. Here you can see where I traced the AWANA block and added some height to it. I knew my design would be taller than the block provided in the kit, and here I traced the wheels over the axle slots. I would usually trace the block and the wheels in ink because I knew I would be doing a lot of erasing when drawing my design. I decided to make my Vette a convertible, and there was 3 features I wanted to give to it: a removable top, doors that opened, and an opening hood. After all, how hard could that be? Well, I found out. We were usually only given about 2 months to build our cars before the race, and hinging parts, along with being time-consuming, isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world to do, at least not for me anyways. Notice you won't see too many more opening parts on my future cars. I did try it a time or two more, but never to this extent. Anyway, I had my mind set on these moving parts, so I gave it a try. Here's the overlay trace of the middle block, or chassis if you will. You can see the dotted lines where I plan to cut out the top. And here's the console piece to be cut out, then to be shortened and glued back in later. And here's the lines for the hood. Of course, all this was to be cut out first before gluing the side fenders on. I also cut out an engine compartment that is not shown here. And here's the overlay trace of the fenders. You can see where the doors were to be cut out here. Down here you can see a different style console piece. During the course of a build, you're naturally going to change things as you go along. And here's 2 pieces I called inner fenders. I believe I was going to glue them on the sides of the engine compartment to hide the wheels, but for some reason I scrapped that idea. Probably ran out of time. Here's the removable top. I got the idea to attach it to the car by putting a magnet strip under the bottom and letting it grab hold to these 2 pieces of metal I glued to the trunk. It kind of worked, but was really unnecessary because I didn't race with the top on anyway, and it would have been okay just sitting on the car loose while it was displayed. Here's the opening hood and the engine I placed in the compartment. And here's the opening doors. I believe this was the only car I did with hinged doors. Here's a close-up shot of the little wooden steering wheel I made and gear shifter I made from a stick pin. There's one thing I really wished I had done differently. That's the windshield post. I should have cut them much more narrow, but it was the first time I had tried something like this, and I was unsure how thin to leave them without the danger of them getting broke. They were, after all, made of wood. Well, I learned later you can get by with much thinner pieces. Also, I wished I had done a neater job gluing in the plastic windshield. I also should have painted the post silver. Oh well, hindsight is 20/20. Here's my 1967 Chevrolet Corvette. If you see tiny dark specks on the sides, that came from graphiting the wheels and axles between each race. The previous year, my first car was the overall slowest, and it won the Turtle Award. I was desperate not to let that happen again. It was okay if it wasn't the fastest. I just wanted it to run respectable. I believe it was the 3rd fastest in the adult division, and I was happy as a clam. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. I have lots more Grand Prix cars to share with you, and some 1/64 scale diecast builds I'm working on as well. Thanks for watching.